Hello and welcome to another video from Midas Touch Toys, Games, Collectibles. And today, well, we're looking at something that is now very old, very rare, very difficult to find, and very collectible, especially in the original box, as this particular set is. We are looking at the 1950s release by J&L Randall Limited from their Merit series of electronic toys. And this particular item we're looking at today is of the Dan Dare two-way walkie-talkie set with push-button planetary selectors and retractable aerials. Now, Dan Dare was a British comic strip character, often considered to be the UK's answer to Buck Rogers, or Biggles if you like. And he made his appearance in the Eagle comic, which originally ran from 1950 to 1967, and his comic strip was called Dan Dare Pilot of the Future, and it was set in the late 1990s. And he also appeared on dramatisation on Radio Luxembourg, which was on a daily basis, 7 days a week, and that aired from 1951 through to 1956. Dan Dare made a recovery in 1977, where he appeared in the 2000 AD comic strips. It ran from 77 to 79. And then he was back in the relaunched Eagle comic, which ran from 1982 until 1994. So basically, Dan Dare was a British a superhero working in space, and almost the equivalent to Buck Rogers, if you like, or maybe Biggles in space. That would be more appropriate characterization of Dan Dare, I would have thought. Okay, but this particular item we're looking at today is of the Dan Dare walkie-talkie set. Now, this can be used on their own, or it can be used in conjunction with the Dan Dare radio telecommunications set. Okay, so this is the box it comes in, and it says it really works. Merit Dan Dare two-way walkie-talkie push-button planetary selectors retractable aerial set. You can see an image of Dan Dare holding one of the walkie-talkies up, together with his co-pilot, and you've got another character at the bottom there in the main administration office, and you've got the rocket ship just in front of him, and you can see an image of the two walkie-talkies together with the cabling, and he's got a Merit electronic product, J&L Randall, made in England, catalogue number 3100, safe, no batteries, magnetically powered, and you've got the Eagle Comics logo on the right hand corner. Okay, that is the front of the box. On these boxes, the backs of the boxes are all plain, so there was never nothing to see on the back. On the bottom of the box, again, you've got some great artwork. Dan Dare and his co-pilot again. It says two-way Dan Dare walkie-talkie set, and you've got the Merit logo and some other nice artwork images. On the end, it says Dan Dare two-way walkie-talkie set. How to use the walkie-talkie, catalogue number 3100. Before speaking to your friend, see that the plugs are connected to both walkie-talkies. Hold the mouthpiece close to your lips. Talk slowly and clearly. After speaking, you say over. This tells your friend that it is now his turn to speak, and you then hold the mouthpiece to your ear and listen. The conversation can be ended by the last one to speak finishing with the word out. To speak over longer distances, further lengths of wire can be obtained from your local electrician. The set will operate effectively up to a distance of 1,000 feet. Okay, now if I just turn the box around to the other end, it says on here, a real two-way communication systems, ready to operate, nothing to wear out. Again, good artwork of the items, and it's got one retractable aerial, two easily detachable plugs to avoid damage, and three push-button planetary selectors. Catalogue number 3100. And if I just move the box to the top, it gives you a background on Dan Dare. And it says, Raiders from Space. Colonel Dan Dare watched the destructive invading space raiders streaking through space towards the Earth. He knew the only way to destroy them and utterly was by radiating an enormous high-frequency electromagnetic wave through a rare element under a certain force of gravity. This amazing combination could only be found on one planet in the asteroid group, and a recent expedition had landed there in order to defend the Earth from the raiders. The danger was imminent, but there seemed to be no defensive action from the planet. He continuously called up the planet headquarters with no reply. Had there been silence by the space raiders so that the attack would be unopposed? The last hope was that secret rescue station on the opposite side of the planet. As the planet did not naturally rotate, the raiders would not expect a rescue defense station on that side. But unknown to the space raiders, the defenders had the power to rotate the planet towards the Earth. Dan quickly seized the walkie-talkie, inserted the plugs, extended the aerial to its fullest extent, pressed the appropriate planetary selector, and speaking close to the mouthpiece, called up to the reserve station. Calling reserve, Earth Defense Force. Earth being attacked. Rotate planet 59 degrees east on north axis and attack with full force of disintegrating radiation. Over. Dan Dare held the mouthpiece to his ear and the reply came over clearly. Message received. Planet rotating. Earth expected over the horizon any moment now. Up she rises. Stand by. Disintegrators. Fire. There we go. Nice little short story there of Dan Dare. Okay, so that is the box. What we're going to do now, we're going to open the box and take the walkie-talkies out, and let's have a look at them outside of the box. Okay, so I've removed the walkie-talkies from the box, and this is what we've got. So we've got all this cable that connects the two walkie-talkies, and they're both connected by these plugs with the cables inside them. Now the cables push all the way to the end and connect into the inside of the walkie-talkie. Now you've got a hand grip on the back there, which you can hold, I suppose, and you've got the antenna which comes up, and that, I think that's on both of them. Yep, so the little antenna that comes up, and you've got the hand grips cables to hold your communicator with as you're speaking, so whatever makes you more comfortable. These buttons, I don't think they do anything from what I can remember. I think it's literally is you just talk into the receiver, and then you say over, and then you just listen for your compatriot to talk into it, and then they say over. So there's no real, I think the aerials are just there for show, and the buttons are just there for show. On the buttons it says Saturn, Venus and Mars. I think they're the same on both. Yeah, Saturn, Venus and Mars. And it's got planetary selector, so you can select which channel, which planet you want to speak to, I suppose. That's what that was all about. So the object is to go into a different room. The cable's got to be attached at full stretch. You can talk to somebody in a different room and you could hear them as though they were sitting next to you. So that was the whole idea behind that. Now you could play with these individually if you liked, or you could also add them on to the Dan Dare radio transceiver, which if you regular to our videos, you would have known that we've already done a video on that particular radio receiver, and we've also had a spare set of these communicators which we plugged into the radio communicator center. Okay, so there's not a great deal to these. There's no batteries required. It is all magnetically powered apparently. So I suppose it's just like having a couple of tin cans on an end of a string. If you tie them together and walk away, you can hear someone speaking through the tin, connected to the string. So that was a thing we used to do when we were kids. But these were pretty much a much more sophisticated version of those. So with the electric cable, or the wire, if you like, that was like our string, and the communicators was our baked bean tin, if you like. And that's how you could hear people through distances. Great novelty toy, great thing that we played with back in played with the kids back in the 50s. Just before my time this was. I wasn't born until the 60s, so it was a bit before my time when these was out, but even so, a really, really good toy. And back in the 50s, I mean, electronic toys were so few and far between, and a lot of money, so you had to pay really through the nose to get something like this back in the day. They weren't cheap toys. But J&L Randall did make them reasonably priced, so their Merit toys were reasonably priced toys. So they were affordable. Let's say affordable amounts of money for families. Okay, how well did they do? Well, yeah, they done very well. I mean, back in the day, back in the 1950s, there was no such thing as videos, streaming services, DVDs, anything like that. We had 3 television channels, ITV, BBC One and BBC Two, and we had comics and magazines and newspapers. That was it. That was literally all we had. Magazines was things like Radio Times and TV Times. All your comics we had. Comics were very, very big back in the 40s, 50s, 60s and 70s. That was a lot, kind of like our videos. We would go to our comics to seek out new television, your television favorites, or your hero favorites. They were all in your comics, or your comic books, or your annuals, or what have you. Your comic book heroes were like your favorite TV characters nowadays. That's what they were like. Even though Dan Dare never actually appeared on television, he was an exceptionally popular character back in the 1950s and 60s, really until probably things like Star Trek come along and Doctor Who come along, and Dan Dare then really took a back step. But back in the 50s, he was probably one of the most popular characters, comic book characters in the world. So back to the point, yes, they done remarkably well. They would have sold out of these. And I'll be honest with you though, these are very difficult to find these days. I don't want to jump from one year to another, but very difficult to find these days. So which begs the question, were they mass produced? I'm guessing they would have been, but what's happened to them? You really don't see these come up very often. The ones you usually find are usually linked to the radio telescope, but very, very rarely finding them separately. But maybe they were very popular back in the 1950s. Kids would have played with them. They would have been bought to be played with, not for collectors as they are nowadays, but for kids to play with them. Okay, let's move forward. Well, about 75 years in actual fact. We're moving forward to 2025, which is where we are today. And the question is, do these come up very often on the platforms these days? The answer to that is no, they don't. You do occasionally see a couple of these pop up, but not very often. And when they do, they're usually separate. I don't think I've seen one in a box before on one of the platforms. You do see some of the handsets as spare handsets, or maybe one handset. And you do obviously get a set with the radio telescope. So that is one set. But then you had this set on its own, which I think was... if you couldn't afford the radio telescope back in the 50s, you could still communicate with these walkie-talkies as a cheaper version of them buying the whole thing. So I'm guessing that's why they produced them and sold them separately. So no, they don't come up for sale very often. In fact, I did have a plumage through the platforms, and I couldn't see any of these available, and haven't been available over the last year. Not to say that they don't come up, I may have missed them, but I didn't see any, and certainly not in a box as these particular set is. But if you do find them on platforms, usual thing applies. Be careful, because a lot of the platforms use stock photographs, and if you want to be sure what you're actually going to get, if you're buying something that's old, remember, because they're all going to be used, they're not going to be new, do click on the used icon, which will be on the page, and have a look at the description and the images of the used items, because you're not going to find these brand new. And that will stop you from ordering something that you don't really want. Alternatively, we at Midas Touch, we don't use stock photographs. We use only photographs from the actual items that you are buying. So if you go on the website and find an image of the item, that is the item you will be receiving when you place the order. And this particular walkie-talkie set is now available on the Midas Touch website, which you can get to very simply by clicking the link below. It will take you straight to the website, where you'll be able to find this and many other vintage Dan Dare items, and many other vintage toys, games and collectibles. Come to that. There's over 10,000 products currently available on the website for you to view and purchase at your leisure. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because we're uploading videos for every new item that goes into the website. There will be something for everybody, and I am absolutely positive that this is something that you're not going to want to miss, because we literally have thousands and thousands of new items which we're shooting videos for and uploading on a daily basis. So if there's something in particular you are looking for, something old that you've never been able to find, something quirky that you might want to buy for a friend, or perhaps just something from your childhood that you'd like to own again to help you recuperate those long lost childhood memories. Well, stay tuned, keep watching, because you never know, the next item we upload could be that item you've been looking for. Okay, that is it for me on this particular item. I do hope you've enjoyed reviewing this wonderful, wonderful Dan Dare two-way walkie-talkie set with me. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next video. So bye for now.